Hi there, I hope you're doing well today. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Chantelle and today I have a package that we're going to open and test out. I was very kindly sent this package from ChantelleArts. It's a 17-piece brush set, which looks so cool. They also included mops, which are my favourite, so let's test them out and see if they're any good. This is the packaging. I love that there's a picture of every paintbrush on the back, so it's really clear about what you're going to get inside. This is the ChantelleArts Supplies 17-piece paintbrush set. It's the Verbena and it's suitable for all kinds of wet mediums. Though it's actually marketed as an acrylic paintbrush set, so I'll be really interested to try this out for watercolour. For full clarity, I'd like to point out that this product was sent to me free of charge. ChantelleArts Supplies asked if I could create a TikTok unboxing the paintbrushes and using them, which I've already done. I don't think they even know that I have a YouTube channel, so this review is completely full of my own opinions. Whether I like or dislike the product, I'm going to be completely transparent with you. The paintbrushes came in this fantastic bamboo sleeve, which actually has a slight smell to it, but it feels lovely. I was really impressed with the whole unboxing experience. I didn't really know what to expect, but I didn't expect it to be this fancy. Let's get to testing out the paintbrushes and swatching now. I'm going to be swatching them all in order. So first up, we've got the Varnish 1.5 inch paintbrush. It's really soft and big, and it's the only one of this size that I can use for watercolour, so I'm really excited to now have a really big paintbrush. Next up, we've got the Slant 1 inch brush. This has a slight angle to it, but it's still a really lovely size. The bristles are firmer than the Varnish one, so I'm not quite sure this is ideal for watercolour, if I'm honest. Next up, we've got the 1/2 inch mop. This is such a fantastic size and I love mop brushes so much, so I was so excited to test this one out. It was unbelievably soft. Like, it's hard to believe that it's actually a synthetic brush. That's how soft it was. And it feels very similar to my natural hair mop brush that I have, so I was really pleasantly surprised with this one. Next up, we've got the number 14 dagger brush. Now, I personally do struggle to use daggers. I struggle to find a use for them, but this one is very soft. Feels very similar to the Princeton dagger brush that I have, and it's very flexible, which I love. Next up, we've got the number 10 dagger brush. This is so unbelievably soft and easy to use. Again, I'm not a huge fan of daggers, but I think these are actually on par with the Princeton ones. It's so flexible and can easily get those fine lines. Moving on to round brushes now. The first one is a size 16. This is the biggest. It's about double the size of my number 6 from Princeton. I do love round brushes, and this one does come to quite a fine point, but personally I have been leaning more towards mop brushes lately just because they come to a slightly finer point, but the round brushes can hold a lot of water, which I absolutely love. The next round brush feels quite a lot smaller considering it's still a number 12, but it was really lovely to use and it does come to quite a fine point. This is very reminiscent to the Princeton that I have, but it was just a pleasure to use and very soft. This next brush is my absolute favourite in the set. It's a 1/4 inch mop, but it looks a lot closer to a quill. It can just come to such a fantastic fine point, and this is what I love the most about mop brushes. You can see that it just goes to a much finer point than the round brushes. We've got one more round brush to try out. This one is a number 4, and this is just a very accurate, small, detailed brush. And I plan to get a lot of use out of this brush because it holds a lot of paint, but can come to a finer point than what the mop brush can, and it's so much easier to control. Next up is the number 12 fan. I feel like this is just the regular size that you see most often. I have a De La Rowney one, which is virtually the same size, but it's nowhere near as soft as this one. Honestly, it feels like natural hair. I don't know exactly how to use them though. The only flat brush in this set is a number 14, and I think this is such a lovely size. I'm personally not a huge fan of flat brushes, so I'm happy with there just being the one. Sometimes you can get sets that have like 3 or 4 flat brushes, and you just don't need that many. The washes were very even, and I was able to get a lovely line. There are 2 angled brushes in this set, which I thought was quite an interesting choice. The bristles are a lot firmer on this one, and personally I don't really use angled brushes very often because I mostly paint portraits. I just don't really know where I would fit them in. I was able to get some perfect straight lines, and this brush has a lot more flexibility than other angled brushes, so if you like to paint florals, this could be good for you. The second is a size 8, and this one is a lot smaller. Again, I think it would be lovely for painting florals, but personally I struggle to find a use for these kind of brushes. I was really impressed by the fine lines I was able to get though. It was very accurate. This is also a size that I've never used before, and it seemed really fun. Next up is an odd one, I'm not gonna lie. It's a feather brush. I have never seen or used a feather brush before in my life, and I mean it looks very fascinating, and I was just playing with it the entire time. But once I put paint in it, I didn't really know how to use it. I think it might be good for grass and getting textures, but I was struggling to make it work for swatches. Because this set is aimed more for acrylics, they also included 2 shapers. Now this one is the angled number 4, and I tried to use it like it says in the instructions manual, of using it to push the paint away. It was definitely an interesting technique, and I did manage to get it to work. Then I tried out the round one, and this didn't work for this technique, but I do feel like these could be really good for sculpting as well, and I mean using them in this way with watercolour definitely isn't the use, but they had to make it on the swatch page, didn't they? Lastly, I've got a palette knife, my very first actual metal palette knife. I skimped out previously and I only have plastic ones, so I was pretty excited by this. This is mostly designed for gouache and acrylic, so it was hard to show it in use with watercolour, but I had to put it on the page. Before going into a painting, I wanted to test how soft the bristles were, so I'm doing a blob on my page and using a hairdryer in between, and I'm just going to do a bit of a layer test and see if any of the layers underneath are lifted. Now the sketchbook I'm using is an Ohuhu mixed media that is literally not designed for watercolour really, so the fact that it held up this well I think really says a lot about the paintbrushes. Obviously if it was 100% cotton paper I would hope that it would work well, but considering this is marker paper, I was really pleasantly surprised. Like at the end you can still see the lines underneath, it's not really lifted at all. Some of it was slightly my fault because I was a little bit impatient, but you can still see the lines underneath. The first layer was yellow, then red, blue, green and pink. That's 5 layers and you can still see the yellow circle underneath, so the bristles are so soft. Let's properly test out these paintbrushes now and see if they're any good. We're going to be painting a self-portrait. This is something that I've been meaning to do for a long while. On all of my socials, I have a random picture of me really far away and I would like to actually show my art. So I'm going to be painting this self-portrait so that I can update it on all of my socials. I started with the mop brush because that's generally what I like to do first, just to block in all of those colours. A lot of people use a flat brush for this stage, but I do prefer a nice big mop brush. I don't exactly know why, it's just personal preference really. The first layer was wet on wet and worked very well. I'm using my Cardi 100% cotton handmade paper, which I really love. It does have a lot of texture and it does warp quite a bit, but once it's dry it tends to flatten out. For the first few layers, I mostly swap between the mop brushes and the round brushes, as that's what I'm most comfortable with, and the brushes were working well completely. I didn't have any issues, they weren't difficult to use, they didn't pick up any of the layers below. As I said, I think these brushes are very soft, and even though they are marketed as acrylic brushes, personally, I think ChantelleArts have really missed a trick here. These brushes are very soft and very similar to like a synthetic squirrel brush. They've also included round and mop brushes, and honestly I think these would be better catered for watercolour if they removed the shapers, the palette knife, and changed the slant brush so that the bristles were a little bit softer, and added a Kolinsky liner and a filbert brush. This would be a perfect set for watercolour. Let's be honest, when it comes to acrylic, paintbrushes aren't super important. You can get by with mediocre paintbrushes, but with watercolour it's a lot harder to get by with basic paintbrushes. The paintbrushes are one of the most important materials for watercolour, and I just don't think that's the case for acrylics. This is a very good set, and with a few changes it could be perfect for watercolour, so I feel like they've really missed a trick catering it more towards acrylics. That being said, I am obviously very confused by the feather and fan brush. I don't know exactly how I'm planning on using them. And some of the brushes in this set are a little bit gimmicky. When you start out painting, you don't really know what to buy or what paintbrushes you might need, and there are so many different choices out there. I think this is a very good set in the sense that you have a big flat brush, you have mop brushes, you have round brushes, you have a small brush for details, you have all the brushes that you need apart from possibly a liner brush. It's an absolutely perfect set for beginners. I just think there are a few other brushes in there which most artists are never going to use, and possibly if they were removed and the set was a little bit cheaper, then I think that would probably make it better. That being said, it's a perfect starter set for somebody just getting into painting, and it would be a fantastic gift idea. These brushes are definitely comparable to Princeton. Princeton brushes are pretty cheap to get in America, but they are virtually double the price in the UK. So these would be a great cheaper alternative. I'm now trying out the fun brushes, the feather, the fan and the slant, and honestly these brushes really were fun. Sometimes when it comes to art, it's lovely to have those supplies that you can just try and experiment with. They might not be the most sensible supplies, but that's what I mean. If you get them as a gift and you can just experiment with them, it can be a really enjoyable experience. Overall, I think the brushes are really fantastic for watercolour. I don't know why they aren't marketed as watercolour brushes because they are amazing. There are a few brushes in there which really aren't essential, but for the price this is a very good set and something to try out. I painted this portrait using about 7 or 8 of the brushes. I had a lot of fun and it made the entire process so much easier. I think the portrait kind of looks like me. I will leave all the ChantelleArts supplies links down below, and I would love to know in the comment section what your favourite art supply is. Thank you for being here. I'd love if you could subscribe, and I'll see you on Sunday. Bye bye.